Thanks, everybody, for joining here. We're happy to host you guys. My name is Gert Drapers. I'm in the engineering team for the HP Helion Cloud Foundry work. And actually, what I want to talk about today is how we can bring a new friend into the Cloud Foundry business. And it might not be a friend that you like. I happen to work at that friend for 24 years. How do we bring Windows into the ecosystem? There have been many attempts. I started in May, and one of the first customers I talked to was like, I have Windows applications, believe it or not, and they need to come along. And so how do we make this work? And so my goal actually is like to make .NET applications a first-class citizen. And actually the timing is great because with all the work that's going on at Microsoft in terms of moving .NET to Linux as a hosting platform for ASP.NET 5, the introduction of container technology inside the Windows OS, it actually becomes a much more interesting platform. And they actually understand that it's like there is a huge difference in the footprint, which is a hinder today. But real customers out there, and especially enterprise customers we talk to, they have those applications running, and they would like to take it forward. Not every application, of course, qualifies. This is really targeted against the IaaS-level applications, HTTP-level application hosts, just like you would use inside the Cloud Foundry world. And as I said, it's like by doing this, we're also providing a growth path into the future for the Microsoft technology, which means it's like we're actually actively working with the guys in Redmond to make this happen. So what is this? Well, first of all, we need to teach Cloud Foundry, especially Cloud Foundry v2 in its current existence, about a new platform. The stack variable, of course, or the stack flag that we use for that is to indicate actually to the DEA and the build system, build packs, that this is different, because otherwise you would end up on a destination that doesn't know anything about you. So that's a mandatory thing. We can't make it opaquer than this. The other thing is like we know that a platform needs to go on a diet. It's a little hungry. So right now is like the minimum that we can achieve is a mem set of 512 megabytes for an application. And the main reason for that is that ASP.NET does dynamic compilation on the fly. And in order to host that, you need to have that memory. If you do pre-compiled, you actually can bring it down to 256. But that's where we are today. So how does this work? Well, we bring a DEA into the system that runs on a Windows platform. We looked at Mono. Mono is a great platform, but it's not viable today as an IaaS hosting platform. It's great for a number of other things, and it will be a viable platform very soon with ASP.NET 5. But today, we're not there. So in order to host these existing applications, we built and introduced a Windows-hosted DEA. With a set of build packs. We can also use some custom build packs. And there's no admin build packs because the platform doesn't know about Windows as a stack. But we hope that it's like in Diego, and we're working on that actually, make that happen. So what better than a bunch of words is like just to go look at this. So I'm actually running the Helion environment. Let's clear this out. I hope you can see this. So Nova is a command from OpenStack, of course. Hopefully I have network connection. What I'm running here is a very simple environment. A Cloud Foundry controller, a Windows DEA, a Microsoft SQL gateway, and a Microsoft SQL node. That's what we have. So let's take one of the Microsoft applications, right? Oh, first of all, let's show you, it's like we introduced the stack, right? So you can ask stack, Win 2012 as the stack that we introduced. If you look at services, you see that we introduced the Microsoft SQL Server service as an additional service next to MySQL and other ones. Okay, so let's use this. So how many of you are familiar with Microsoft samples? You can admit it. Nobody's going to kill you. Okay. So most of you actually probably know this company that they keep using, Contoso, right? One of their sample apps, and it's an ASP.NET app. So what we have here is like we pointed at the solution file. This is the entry of, that's their make file. basically, of the MS build system. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a push. As I said, we need to treat the dog a new trick by feeding him a stack. We need to give him some bones so he can survive. That's it. So we're going to take this. Yes, we'll take the current directory. Oh, I can't type. I'm sorry. Like this. Let's do it again. Yes, I want this directory. That's fine for a name. That's fine for a URL, a disk. Okay, I don't want to save this. Okay. So what it will do is it will pick up the binaries and stage it just like a regular app. In this case, it will actually go and ask me, it's like if I want to bind it, and this is an app that uses Microsoft SQL Server. So I'm not going to bind it to an existing one, but I'm going to create a new one, SQL Server, free version. What name? So let's call this Contasso MS SQL. Okay. He creates the service instance, and then hopefully he will start pushing it. I don't want to create anything else. All right. So it will pull NuGet packages. For those of you who know what they basically are the same as NPM packages for your Node app or your. So it brings down those binaries as part of the build, stages those, uploads it, creates the package, just like the regular workflow for every app inside the Cloud Foundry system. From this point on, it's all the same. There's nothing else different. Besides sometimes the startup time, because it's like heating up the Windows DEA with a new instance. So what we do is we create a completely isolated environment. We worked with the Uhuru guys, which is one of the open source projects that has been around for a while. They did some interesting things on isolation. Then we went to the Microsoft guys and actually refined that and worked with them to create a completely isolated environment to the degree where it's possible, technically, and where it's feasible to have application compatibility. Of course, this is a demo, so it will go wrong, most likely. Of course, I can blame my old employer. That is like their environment doesn't start. Let's work around this. Okay, well, that's small. Let's fix that. Okay. Sorry. See if it's finished. Oh, it actually was finished. Sorry. So I'll go back real quick. So it hosts the application. And that's not what I want. Sorry. Okay. Let's open it up. So hopefully this will bring it up. It still needs to compile a bunch of pieces, so it's like it's not completely fully compiled, so it's like it's on demand. Compile, and here we have Contasso, your Windows app, straight out of the box. The only modification made was the config file for the database to point to the service broker. So what we're working on next is like, so this works in CFV2. We're working on making this work inside the Diego world, hanging under Garden infrastructure. And so that's the next step. And we're looking forward to actually, now that we're part of the foundation, that we can start to contribute this as HP to the community. Thank you, and have a great holiday. And if you have questions.
Do we have time for a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, how would that compare, for example, with Cloud Foundry that's currently working with V2 as well, and has a Windows DEA and also has container working?
So I have a full side-by-side comparison if you're interested. That's more than a one-sentence answer. So the main thing is like we all arrived at the same station, right? We all use IIS hostable core at the end of the day. We all use job objects. I think the biggest thing that we're trying to do is collaborate actually with the Microsoft guys to make sure that they approve of this, that they support this as not a hack, but as a feasible solution. And the other things that I'm working with them on is like, how can we get Windows on a diet, right? Because I showed them my Kubernetes demo, 350 megabytes Core OS images. I showed them this, 5.6 gigabyte Windows images. The boot time is significantly different. So they see why this is important, but they're now, is like in the new era of Microsoft, they're actually very receptive to work with us. And I think that's why I think this has a much more of a better foundation. As I said, it's like we're working with, based on the Uhuru Foundation. That's what we started from. We're collaborating with them. And I just wanted to see something in production. And that was the last thing I think that Iron Foundry doesn't give me. It's like, I need to have production that an enterprise customer can bank on, because that's my customer. That's what I'm providing. Thank you.